Hey everybody, it's Kenny K here again with a review about a movie that just franchise that just had a new one, Final Destination Bloodlines. I'm guessing I'm not a big Final Destination fan. I'll start with that. Um, I'm guessing that the Bloodlines would be the Grim Reaper chasing, because the Grim Reaper is the unseen killer in these movies, the slasher in these movies, if you will. And he's going after bloodlines. And I know that every movie starts with a more gorier and more splatter fest of accidents. I saw the second one too. I thought it was okay. Um, that's the one on the highway with the bridge collapsing and the logs falling from this truck, impaling one guy. I mean, very chaotic. But I actually liked the first one. The first one I did like. It gets a 6.7. I gave it a 5.5, but directed by James Wan, the Conjuring movies and so on, a great director. Um, Now, what I liked on with this movie was that the the premonition when Alex, played by Devon Sawa, he goes on that plane. They were going to Paris. He had this teacher who was constantly, oh, en français, s'il vous plaît, constantly trying to let the students talk in French. He had a second teacher, a female one, Valerie. Valerie and this guy, these two were the teachers that were gonna guide this group of high school students. Now, it's already, I believe, starting to rain, and it's the wind is severe. There's lightning, so there's a creepy mood. There's a really creepy mood in that terminal, and he's constantly staring at the plane, and it's this one had the biggest impact on me because you go when they go on the plane. The first thing, the one of the good friends of Alex is Todd, and he has a brother, Todd Wagner, and he has a brother also, Wagner, and he says there's babies on board. You gotta have a fucked up God to, let us crash. And then there was this kid with Down, and then he said a very fucked up God. So, sort of as a relief that nothing will happen. Now, eventually, he's sitting on the plane. He knows something's wrong. There's something going wrong. Eventually, they get up in the air, and we see what happens to the cockpit, to the hull of the ship. Everybody's blown out of the ship. A fireball is incinerating Alex. That's coming towards Alex, and eventually he wakes up completely. I got to get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. You've got the you've got Ali Larder, who's Claire, who for some reason believes him. Then you've got Kurt Smith, also known in the remake of My Bloody Valentine. He always plays an asshole. Here he plays an asshole jock, and he's like, "Hey man, you're making my girlfriend Terry afraid." And then eventually he gives him he sucker punches him, on the nose. He's bleeding, so for aggression they're taking him out of there too. Then for some reason, I'm not really sure, Todd Wagner, the brother, one of the brothers, because he's his best friend, is going. I'm going with him. You go and have a good time. I'm going with him. And one of the teachers, they go. She says to the male teacher, "Can you handle this?" No, no, yes, I can handle this. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so she goes off, but then Sean William Scott, played by Billy, he's there, but I think he was just a little bit too late or something, and he gets chased out of the plane with the rest of the group, and they're like all super angry, and you know, Carter, Kurt Smith, wants to kick his ass. He wants to fucking you piece of shit. They all enjoy to go to Europe, Paris, a big deal, you know, for American people, that's a big deal, the city of love. But then the glass explodes and the airplane explodes. So everybody's looking at him like in awe, like, so I like that. I like that impact a lot more than, I mean, it's obviously the Grim Reaper. We know him from Family Guy, you know, the skeleton with the cloak and the scythe. But if you go to books, and ancient books, he is described as a skeleton in a cape and a scythe. So that's his real look. Now, even if you're a baby or a kid with Down syndrome, doesn't matter if you're a few months old, if you're on his list, you die. Now they cheated death, so they're now on his they're on his fuck you list. So you can get the picture that everybody is getting offed, and for some reason they think Alex, some, I think FBI agents or something, like they think that he's responsible for the explosion because he knew, you know, like he's the terrorist, maybe. But then he goes to, and that's one of the cooler kills in my opinion, when he goes to Valerie's house, the teacher. He knows she's next because he figured out the pattern of this unseenable killer, right? And he goes to Valerie's house, and Valerie doesn't want to let him in. She calls the police, but then she trips or something, and she thinks she takes something with her, and this entire block of butcher's knives are all falling. You know, one in the jugular. I mean, yeah, that was a cool kill. That was a cool kill. Also, the kill of Terry, you don't see that coming. You know, everybody's like discussing with her. She's no, I'm not gonna die. I'm never gonna die. I'm gonna die when I'm old. When I'm old. this school bus going at 70 miles an hour just splatters Terry in pate, and her boyfriend Carter is full of Terry, basically. So those were my favorite kills. I'm not gonna spoil the other ones. Also, I'm not gonna spoil the ending of the movie. But there is this moment when they get to this coroner or this mortuary guy, I'm not sure, played by the awesome Tony Todd. Again, underrated in the horror community. He's such an impactful character, and he knows about it all. He knows about the Grim Reaper. He knows you're on his shit list, buddy, and he knows that you're gonna be next. And it's almost like two things that I always had in mind. I believe he's in the second movie too. I'm not sure in the other sequels because I didn't see them. I believe that one of the survivors eventually, the Grim Reaper gets them all except one, Ellie Lauder's character, Claire. That so that's a little bit of a spoiler there, but he says you can't cheat death. You can't. And if you do, it will go to the next one. And then, his list with all of his names on, and then he goes to the next one, kills that person, and then he goes over and again till he comes back to the one who cheated him in the first place. So it's almost impossible to run away from this thing, this entity, this, if you're on his shit list, you're gonna die. However you're gonna sit, you're gonna die. And Tony Todd, for some reason, always gave me the vibe in that movie that he is one, working with this entity, or he is the entity in human incarnated. You know what I mean? Because how he was looking at them, it was like very, evil looking at him and saying, I'll see you soon, and like that. And I think he had something to do. I'm not sure, but he had a pact with the entity, with the Grim Reaper, or he was the Grim Reaper incarnated in flesh. That it wouldn't be far-fetched, in my opinion, especially the job that he was doing, right? But like I said, the first scene had a bigger impact on me. It was like this guy seeing this premise, and I don't know, he and the way he was acting, that he was just wanted to get out of the plane, and that this chain reaction came with created by other students who wanted him to shut the fuck up, and he, Carter, Kerr Smith's character, clogs him, and then, like I said, Sean William Scott's character, Billy Hitchcock, I think his name was, he's pushed out because I think he was the last one on the plane, so he's pushed out. I don't know jack shit. And then the explosion, and they're all looking at him like, what the fuck? That was I like that. I like that more, because I'm always been sort of afraid in a plane, especially if I would be on that plane and you see thunder and fucking gusts of wind that are going 70 miles an hour or something, personally, I have to take a chill pill to get on that plane. So I can already imagine how it feels like if this guy has a premonition of this plane becoming with lifting up. The most dangerous time of a plane is the lift up and the descent. Those are apparently the most dangerous times, and once it's in the air, it's above the lightning and the winds. It's above the clouds. So, but like I said, it's the ascent and descent that are the most dangerous moments that are in a plane. I don't want to freak everybody out if you can't get a plane, but you know what I mean. So yeah, there's this moment where Alex got informed, of course, by Tony Todd, so he wants to cheat him, so he's making his room completely bulletproof, so to say, and eventually he's waiting. He knows he's next. He's waiting, and then he sees the closet opening, and he sees this rod falling out, this hook, and he could just stop it, and the hook was rusty, and rusty as fuck, and he said tetanus. I'm not sure if tetanus works in so fast. I mean, we have vaccines against tetanus, but he said tetanus. Okay, that was the way the Grim Reaper wanted to kill him, and that was a kind of a lame way. Just a fishing rod with a hook this big, rusted, but okay. He cheated death again, so he goes to the next one, and he is infatuated with the next one. That's clear, and he kind of wants to make a sacrifice for her. See, the movie had different endings apparently. That he dies by electrifying him, but also an ending where he survives. But if he didn't survive, the Green Reaper got a kill, but not the right kill. In any case, I'll not spoil the ending, who survives the movie, and it's a pretty decent one. The second one is also an okay watch. I'm probably not going to review it because I'm not, like I said, it's sort of rinse and repeat for me. You always get more bombastic accidents, you know. You got the roller coaster ride thing, and then you've got wasn't there something with an aqua park too? I'm not sure. You know, it's always sort of the same. Maybe Bloodlines is different, but in the sense that it goes after bloodlines now. So maybe a family that cheated death in an almost accident, near accident, but it's always getting gorier and gorier and splatter horror towards the last sequel. You know, it always wants to up the accident. You know, the accident that is that basically all these people are on the Grim Reaper's shit list. So, but I didn't like that. I liked the simplicity from the first one because the acting was more acting toward it. Was more acting in it. It was more rawness to it. You know, you had the premonition of him seeing the plane, and it's like raining as fuck, gusts of wind of 70 miles an hour. It's lightning. I mean, only that should make you scared to get on that fucking plane. So, and I'm talking about me, but so no. Give it if you. I'm guessing a lot of people seen Final Destination. I still don't want to spoil it. Like I said, I have this theory that Tony Todd's character, Bloodwort, is Bloodwort from Bloodwort. It's weird, okay. That he has a connection with this Grim Reaper, and that he's saying "see you soon" because he's working. I guess he was working as a coroner. No, a coroner, not. I think a mortuary. You know, embalming people and shit. But the way he said that, the way he gave the information, he knew everything. He knew what was next, and it kind of felt like there's something wrong with this guy. This guy knows too much, you know what I mean? And also, how can you cheat death, right? How can you escape death? The Grim Reaper will always get you, even if you have to be constantly fighting for the rest of your life. Like I said, if you're on the shit list, you're gonna die. And it will always rinse and repeat and go to you, buddy, and he will kill you. It's the way it goes. He will stop. He will not stop. He will stop for no one. He will kill you. It doesn't matter. You're never gonna be safe, even when you think you're safe. So this movie is actually very it's kind of a downer always, and there's always even somebody maybe who survives, but then again in the second movie that person dies too. So you can't escape. That's just the way it is. In any case, give it a watch if you've never seen it. You can binge the entire, I think they're like 6 movies with the newest one, Bloodlines. I think that's the 6th one. So there's a big franchise that came out of this movie. So binge it, start with this one, in my opinion the best. It's not, maybe not the most gory one, but it does have the most, in my opinion, fleshed out characters and raw acting, good acting, creepy moments, and very tense moments. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.